I'm dressed up as a big bottle of sauce. I'm about to drop some sauce for y'all. Let's get into it. I'm gonna try and be as professional and smart sounding as someone who is dressed up in a child's Halloween costume can be. So we're gonna look at Bitcoin, we're gonna look at Ethereum. Not a ton has changed in our analysis in the last week. From like a high time frame perspective, it's been pretty choppy around this all-time high area, which at the end of the day is not super duper surprising. If you remember back here, when we broke 20K, the previous all-time high, we chopped around at the level and then we ripped. And so hopefully that is kind of a similar situation, right? We're going to be chopping around at this all-time high here, and then we are going to launch into the absolute fucking stratosphere. Obviously, in terms of, levels of resistance, I don't really see any. Could you consider some of these areas, as potential resistances? Sure. But to me, these are very much short-term resistance areas. This is kind of what I posted the other day. These are kind of the two most likely scenarios that I see happening for Bitcoin here is we either get back above this all-time high SFP level here and then break out, or we have a deeper dip. Maybe this has another leg down, and then we come into this support area here around 53K and then launch, right? Maybe run this low, and then go. But I mean, I'm thinking that 58K is solid support here. So that level is from the 3-day chart. 58K comes from this right here. To me, this is a very clear breaker type of SR flip that we have going on here, right? So the up candle that caused the down move, broke market structure to the downside. We came back up to it. We nuked through. We're now retesting. This candle alone confirms to me that this is an area of support. So I think you're a bidder here, right? And you're bullish here. So we talked about longing here. I've talked about this as being area of support, and I think that remains to be the case for now. If we get under this level, the next area of interest for support is right here, that 52 to 53K area, which would be this kind of breaker setup. Either way, whether it's from here or it's from here, I think we resolve with going higher. I'd be very, very surprised if this entire run that we just saw here, after, multi-month consolidation, right? A breakout, a retest of the consolidation, a clear higher low, bullish market structure on the high time frame. I'd be very surprised if this ends in a double top. Very surprised. You don't really see double tops happen that often in crypto. I don't believe that this is the end of the run. I'm not surprised we're chopping around up here, fudding people out before the next move, fucking them up with some, up, down, sideways kind of annoying PA. But, at the end of the day, I think the move here is to be bullish. As long as we're above 58K, absolutely bullish, all the way down to, this area being bullish. If we get below this block, below 50K, I might start being worried that this was some big pump, and whoever accumulated here is now distributed, and this thing's gonna go way back down. That would be the only instance where I would get worried that this run is over. But for now, we're reacting to support. We're chilling at all-time high. Alts are running. So as much as we're having some sideways fuckery, there's been lots of money to be made in alts where Bitcoin's kind of stalling out here and going sideways. I remain bullish, and I think, the scenarios that I posted on Twitter, this is kind of what I'm watching for still here, right? So those are just those same levels, right? There's that 3-day candle, there's all-time high, there's that 52 to kind of 50 block. These are the two main scenarios I'm watching. I think this is going to break out sooner than later, so I'm patient. I'm bullish on Bitcoin. I'm buying dips if I'm given the opportunity on both Bitcoin and Ethereum. What would be the bearish argument here? So if you're saying, okay, I want reasons to maybe look to be bearish, look to get into shorts or something like that, what would those situations be? So the only thing that I could kind of from a chart perspective for me would be a few. If we got another move above this high and then failed back below it again, kind of like we did here, deviation, that would be a short trigger for me. I think if we lose this 58K level, you could comfortably get into shorts down into here, but I'm a buyer here. And if we lose this area and get below 50K, I would start getting worried, and yeah, I'd be looking to, maybe start shorting some bounces. But I do think that for now, dips to 58 are for buying, a flip of this is for buying, a dip to here is for buying. If you want to short in between, you can, but I'm not really interested. From kind of a fundamental, or fundamental's not even the right word, from a outside of TA kind of look at why things could potentially be bearish, a lot of retail interest. We're seeing Doge and Shiba Inu and dog coins and cat coins and multitude of other shit coins pumping. Something that also happened here. The last time Doge and all those fucking shit coins went crazy was here. So there's some cause for potential alarm bells, right? Retail retail is getting very noisy and frothy. A lot of the shit coins, BSC coins are pumping, dog coins are pumping, really low cap coins are fucking pumping. We broke above all-time high and then, put in a massive SFP. So there are some arguments to be bearish for sure, but I'm still optimistic and leaning towards this just being kind of a shakeout before higher prices. If we start losing key SR, like if we lose this area, then I'll be more concerned. But as long as we're trading above 58K, to be honest with you, I think it's kind of hard to have a bearish argument from a TA perspective. Like this to me just looks like a break of a high, ran this high, now we're consolidating, and we're going to go up again. That's just my opinion. But there are some potential alarm bells that I'm not saying are a reason to sell all of your crypto and get the fuck out, but it's something to pay attention to, right? Because these things, it's not like retail gets frothy and then the market crashes. It takes some time, right? And so if you remember here, we had very similar kind of things happening in terms of the frothiness of retail, the shit coins pumping, Dogecoin and fucking Shiba Inus and all that kind of crap, low cap pumping right as the market tops. So some red flags, be aware of them, pay attention to them. What are your friends and family saying, right? Me personally, I have a ton of friends reaching out to me again, very similar to, what I had back here. It doesn't mean we're done, right? We could go to 80K and then fucking crash or whatever. And people are just talking about it again because we're, at a previous all-time high. So I do have a lot of friends who are asking me about getting into crypto now. Should I be putting money in? And it was really quiet, a few months ago when we were down here. So again, I've got a lot of friends and family asking about crypto now. We've got the retail, frothiness picking up. Coinbase highly listed on the App Store. Shitcoins pumping. Red flags, be aware of them. But at the end of the day, as you guys know, I focus on the chart. So there's some red flags. There's some reasons to potentially have your ears up and be aware. But for now, from a price action perspective, I'm still bullish. Just looking at this, right? Like other than this SFP, this price action to me is bullish. We're consolidating above an SR flip. I mean, this SFP is annoying for sure, but this to me is bullish. Here we had, these kind of three lesser highs. We had the break in market structure. We had bearish PA setting up. There's no real bearish PA setting up here yet. For now, the PA here is still bullish. If we lose this low, lose this support, then potentially we can talk about some short scenarios. But for now, I'm leaning on buying the dips and being, cautiously bullish. We just had our monthly close, weekly close kind of monthly close, pretty fucking strong. I find it really hard to be, super duper bearish when the monthly candle looks like this, right? Ethereum as well. Look at the monthly candle on Ethereum. Could it be the top? Maybe, right? I mean, look at this monthly candle before the end. I don't know, but just based on us being right back up at this high, I don't know. I don't see it. I think both of these monthly closes are pretty fucking strong. I'm pretty bullish. The monthly close looks pretty fucking good on both Bitcoin and Ethereum, I would say. So now that the macro kind of conversation is out of the way, let's zoom in a little bit and let's see if we can talk about kind of some more short-term potential trade scenarios for this coming week. In terms of, trades for the intraday for this week, I think a very clear long, if we get above here, I think you immediately look to long any sort of lower time frame pullback. Alternatively, what I want to see, right, we kind of have this potential pattern breaking out here, right, where it's like, okay, we've got our downtrend line, breakout, retest, and boom. So that could be it, right? Like we could be seeing this kind of downtrend leveling off, whereas we were going down quite steep here. Clear downtrend, lower lows, lower highs, and now it looks like this is potentially flipping. Price is kind of giving us almost an over-under type of move here where we had our low, deviate below the low. We're now back above it. So what we want to see here is this be a higher low for price to continue to trade up, right? So if you're looking at like the H4, this would be the level of interest for me that I want to see kind of hold for the bulls right here. So this is kind of your deviation level here. This is your range low. That's your deviation. We're back above the low here. So I want to see this hold ideally as a higher low. If we roll over here like this, right? I'm looking to buy some sort of dip or kind of, bullish PA around the 58K handle. Maybe we run this low and then, get back above. But that would be the buy the dip zone for me. But for now, leaning cautiously bullish. And obviously, if we can maintain this low, again, same concept here. There's your low, ran below it. So now if we can get above here, 62, I think you can long that with your stop here. That would be kind of the most short-term play that's kind of popping out at me here. We're above this range low support, deviated. I want to now see effectively this large fractal play out on a smaller time frame right here. We ran the low. Well, where's the high that generated that low? It's right here. So this becomes your play. That's your risk. Above there is your trigger. Stop goes there. Target 1. And then obviously if we can get above here, target infinity. That would be kind of the short-term play I see. Again, if we lose this low, I think you're looking to get bullish around 58K. This is where you look for that setup to form. Look at Ethereum here. Weekly close, pretty strong. Monthly close, very strong. I do like what we're seeing on Ethereum here. I mean, last week we talked about this order block here being like, hey, price can just launch from right here. You know, we're in it, boom. Same thing here, right? Another 3-day order block right there, came into it, we're pushing away. So I definitely am leaning bullish on Ethereum. I think you should be too. As long as we're maintaining, now we have a new order block that's formed here. As long as we're maintaining above this, I don't think there's a reason to be bearish on Ethereum. I think this is getting ready for a major leg up. And to me, 5,000 is just kind of the magnet, right? The big round number, psychological number. Maybe we dip down here one more time, but I think overall, we're going to 5K. Zooming in a little bit here, we have our previous all-time high here. That's what this level is. And then we have our kind of clear SR flip here, this order block, right? So the down candle before the up move that broke market structure. It's also like a previous range. We have this kind of trading range here from here to here. In this range, pull back, break out, we form a new range. This is your range low. Old all-time high is your range high. So as long as we're staying above here, flip this level, we should go to 5K. So that's kind of what I'm watching for right now. If we can get above here, make a new high, I'm buying the dip, stop there, target 5K. Alternatively, if Bitcoin wants to shit the bed and Ethereum decides to shit the bed too, I'm a buyer down at 36. If we, kind of break down here, you could take a short on the underside of 4K. I'm looking at a run of this low and I'm looking to buy into this kind of high time frame support here. Nice daily order block right here. You got this breaker block as well. So to me, this is a buy the dip zone if we come down here. I don't know if we will, but if we do, I'm a buyer down here. That's kind of the scenarios that I'm watching for on Ethereum, right? I'm looking for either a breakout, which we're very close to right now, like just make a higher high here, get in on a dip. If we get some sort of market-wide crash, I'm looking to buy 4K. Like to me, Bitcoin at 58K, I think Ethereum is here at 4K and I'm a buyer. If Bitcoin goes to 50 to 53K, like that deeper pullback I was talking about, I think Ethereum probably goes around 35, 3,600 and I'm a buyer down there as well. Ideally for both Bitcoin and Ethereum, we just do this little path, just break out and fucking rip. That's what I'm watching for on Ethereum right now. Let's see if we can get above here. Let's see if we can put some bullish price action in, make a higher high. Very similar setup to Bitcoin here. We just ran that low. There's the high that generated the low. We get above here, your risk goes here. Target, right? So what would that look like? Just over 2R. I'm happy with that. How do you get a better risk reward? You don't just go like this. I mean, you could just put a really tight stop, but what you actually do if you want to get a better risk reward is you zoom in and you say, okay, well, actually on this time frame, you would wait for, let's say we get like something like this, we get that breakout. You're going to then use the lower time frame and say, okay, well, based on the hourly, here's the low that generated that high. So if I'm entering here, I'm comfortable putting my stop here. Right? And then your target being 5K, that's going to get you an even better risk reward than the original setup. But the original setup's based on a higher time frame. So the stop is wider. All of a sudden you got a 10-hour trade here, but you're using the lower time frame to define your risk. What is the risk here? Is that, let's say we get this, low, high, we break out here. It could come down here, put in a higher low like this, and then go. That short-term trade got stopped out. The high time frame trade is still in. The way to get tighter risk reward is not to just move your stop closer to your entry just arbitrarily. You need to have a reason for where your stop is and why. The reason I would put my stop here is because, to me, if this gets above here, this was a fake out and therefore price should not come back here. Therefore, that is where this trade idea would be wrong. That's why I'm putting my stop there. You don't just move your stop up to get a better risk reward. If you want a better risk reward, if you're saying, hey, this is too far from the entry, which is way up here, you zoom into the lower time frame and you use a lower time frame trade trigger. So if the high time frame is going to do this, well, on the low time frame here, I can find a bullish setup that will offer me a better risk reward than potentially this high time frame setup. You go in on the low time frame, you look for a similar move, right? We come up to the SR level, come down to it, and you see, okay, it goes like this, and then maybe it does one of these. Well, now within this box here, you've got it set up where your trigger's there, right? And your stop is here. And you've got a much tighter setup relative to the high time frame setup. That's how you get a tighter risk reward. You zoom in, you find a lower time frame trigger where your risk is defined on the smaller time frame. You don't just arbitrarily move your entry. Like if you're just like, oh, well, I want a better risk reward, and Mayne says his stops here, target's 5 or whatever. This is not good enough for you. You don't just go like, oh, okay, well, I'll just move my stop up to here. Because, well, why? Where's the idea wrong? And based on the 4-hour chart and that setup I showed you, the idea is wrong down here. So the only way to get better risk reward would be to dial in and find a lower time frame entry, not just arbitrarily moving your stop. Your stop doesn't go where the risk reward is favorable. If you're like, I want it to be 3 hours, so my stop goes here. That's not what you do. Your stop goes where the trade idea is wrong. I mean, FBTC, we talked about in the last video, right? We're within these two levels here. We formed a very nice range. Price is consolidating. To me, it looks like it's gearing up to break out, right? So we had this 3-day resistance that we were into last week. We've poked through it here and we're pushing up. I do believe that when this pattern resolves, it will be to the upside. I still am of the mindset that this is just like a giga uptrend from way back here. And this is like our first real big leg up, right? This is going to be a higher low and we're going to, eventually go to here. So I do think this pattern resolves to the upside. Whether we have one more stab down first, I don't know, but I do believe that this does resolve in the upside and it's going to lead to, much higher prices on Ethereum USD. So still consolidating here, waiting for this to resolve. Feels like we've been in this range forever, and we have been in this kind of range for several months now, but I do think price is constricting a little bit. And I think if we can get above here and start putting in some bullish PA, right? I think we're eventually gonna, have another big leg up to 0.1, which is fucking crazy. Obviously for altcoins, if this chart is bullish, right? Think of this as effectively, altcoin dominance, right? Like if this chart is bullish, this is a good proxy for the altcoin market as a whole. And if this is going up, that's a good look for altcoins. But again, how complex do you want to get in your trading and your investing and rotating between different assets? Are you just buying and holding? Are you very actively managing your portfolio? Because if Ethereum BTC, let's say, breaks out and rips like this, that means Ethereum USD is going to be outperforming Bitcoin. So at that point in time, if you're trading alts, you actually don't want to be focused on the alt BTC chart. You want to be focused on the alt Ethereum chart, because if Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin, which would be exemplified in this chart being in an uptrend and going up, then you want to make sure if you're in an alt, that alt isn't just outperforming Bitcoin, but it's outperforming Ethereum. Because if your alt Ethereum chart is in a downtrend, like let's say you're in Solana and Sol ETH is in a downtrend, your money is better off just being in Ethereum itself, right? So definitely something to pay attention to. And I did 2 entire videos on this exact topic, and I highly suggest you go watch them. They're in the altcoin series playlist on my page here. I'm not like a very good shitcoin trader. Like I made most of my money buying Bitcoin and Ethereum early and then leverage trading Bitcoin and Ethereum and some other altcoins and being early into things like Sol and stuff like that. In terms of like true shitcoin degeneracy, there are so many better accounts to follow. Crypto Messiah, Hasaka. These are the kind of guys who I look at when they're talking about shitcoins and metaverse plays and things like that. Like that's who I'm paying attention to. I don't have the mental kind of capacity to keep track of all the different shit going on in crypto. I find that it's very overwhelming trying to keep up with all the different things that are going on, all the different ecosystems and blah, blah, blah. So what I've done is I've surrounded myself with smart friends who are more plugged into that shit. And I know what I do well, and what I do well is trade ranging and trending markets on Bitcoin and Ethereum. So that's kind of where I focus most of my capacity mentally. I'm not completely ignoring shitcoins and stuff like that, but like I'm not doing the deep dive in research research and be like, okay, the next move is play to earn games. So I want to get into some gaming tokens. And what are those tokens? Where can I trade them? I'm more like going to Hasaka's page or going into Discords that I'm in with friends and be like, yo, what the fuck do I need to ape into irresponsibly? And I'll blame you if I lose money. I do think there's narrative plays to be made still, but I'm not very good at finding those narratives and then finding the associated coins. I kind of just tail other really smart people and focus my monkey brain on just pressing the red and green button. Fit check. I'm a bottle of sriracha. I'm not a carrot. I'm hot sauce. Because I'm super hot and I'm fucking dripping with sauce. I look like an Arab Khalifa. What's that even mean? I'm a sriracha bottle. I'm a hot sauce bottle. Like, come on. What vegetable am I? I'm sriracha hot sauce, man. I'm not ketchup. I'm hot sauce. Come on now. The costume goes hard, man. Sorry to interrupt the stream, but like, I'm fucking bottled up, bro. I'm just looking at myself in the camera and I'm just like, what have I become? If a younger Mayne was to watch this stream and just see me at 31 on a Sunday afternoon, it's beautiful outside, there's football on, and I'm sitting here hungover, dressed up as a hot sauce bottle, streaming to a couple hundred people, talking about fucking Bitcoin. What would he have thought? What would he have thought? What the fuck is that? It goes hard. Oops, what the fuck is that? Like, I just look ridiculous. Are you wrong? Of course you're wrong because you're disagreeing with me. Come on. Which is maybe what you want to do. I don't know. Do whatever the hell you want, I guess. I'm more of like a, fucking old boomer trader. I'm not nearly smart enough to fucking complete sentences, apparently. There's some reasons to potentially, have your ears up, right? Or your nozzles. Have your nozzles up and alerted. You guys don't understand the effort I went through to make this happen. Let me do whatever I want, you bloody sauce. I don't even know what that means. Try and ignore the big floppy phallus looking thing on my head. My nozzle is ready to squirt. Ew. I don't know. For some reason that sounds sexual to me and I don't like it. You can't take me seriously. Why the fuck not? I'm a very serious individual. I'm a very serious trader. I'm a very serious man. That's why they call me Trader Mayne. That's why I'm verified on Twitter. Everyone's asking, how did Trader Mayne get verified before Rookie? How did Trader Mayne get verified before Cobain? Before Altcoin Psycho? Before Kaleo? How? This is how. Because I'm literal definition of sauce. That's how. Sauce is forever. Go look in your fridge. You got barbecue sauce from a year ago. It's still there and it's still good. Sauce is forever. Miss me with that shit. BitBoy said we don't need a stop loss on Cardano. Well, BitBoy's a fucking idiot.